welcome to Murphy's Law Garage. Today, amongst other things, we fixed the mess we made with David's Bronco. Let's get to it. All right, well that looks a lot better. You know, I honestly didn't expect the Bronco's tires to dig in as much as they did, but they really did tear this place up. If any of you are wondering why I chose the hand shovel and then use the tractor, it's because it's really hard to see exactly where those ruts are, and they make a washboard for the lawnmowers when they pass over them. So I hand shoveled exactly where I needed to be, packed it in with the tire, and then dumped more dirt on top and smoothed it out real nice. Anyways, it's real good. It still looks like it has some, but only because it's missing grass in those areas. Looks good now. If y'all seem like my camera has a wider field of view and looks prettier, it's because I got a new phone. Hashtag iPhone 11 Pro Max team. So let me go finish cleaning up with the tractor, and then we'll get back to the project. All right, everyone, we're here with the truck. Let's get started cutting some unneeded, there it is, some unneeded metal off of the frame of the truck here. Let me get you turned around. All right, so the back section of the frame ends about right here inside of the front section of the frame. We need to cut approximately 30 inches, and I haven't taken the super precise measurement on that yet, but 30 inches is going to land us somewhere over here. So these two guys right here are just generally going to be in our way. I'm gonna try to get it out of the way, mainly because I really need to work on where these rivets and such are to try to get hammer these. I'm hoping I can grind the head of these rivets off and then hammer the rivet through, though we didn't have any success with that on David's Bronco when we were doing suspension modifications. That may result in me just having to go ahead and drill them out or use a torch. Really don't want to use a torch. I don't want to hurt the temper of the frame. So these body mounts, and actually, yeah, these back here, these are bed mounts. These bed mounts are held with a couple of small tacks, actually 3 small tacks on the outside, and then it is very heavily welded on the inside here. So I've got a cut-off wheel set up on the grinder, and I'm going to get in here and see if I can pretty easily get these brackets to come on off of here out of our way, and that'll give us some more room to work with these rivets and take measurements and get a cut-off wheel in here when the time comes without having to work around them. So let me get you set up in the stand. All right, y'all, so let's talk about some life skills. For sure, one thing we need to know is that when working with one of these, which is a cut-off wheel on a grinder, you have to be especially careful of where you place yourself around this wheel. Now, what do I mean by that? You see, I don't have the shield on it. And the reason why I don't is a lot of what I'm going to do here today would be hampered by having the shield on it, make it very difficult to get in at the right angles and such. So what you're going to see me try to do constantly is to ensure that my face, and for most part, generally my body, but mainly my face, is never ever in line with this blade while it's spinning and cutting. These blades have a real nasty habit of fracturing, splintering open, and the velocity of the pieces getting spit out and slung into people's faces. I have safety glasses on. These sunglasses, which have photochromatic coating on them, and they automatically shade when I go out in the sun. These are actually safety glasses, and I wear them for just about any project I do, just because my eyes are important. So always protect your eyes. Now, ideally, I would have a full face shield. I don't want to have one available to me. It's really not necessary. Like I said, I'm gonna keep my face away from it. You want to try not to wear loose clothing, but you also need to protect yourself. So a good quality shirt, and you have the sleeves buttoned up real nice, is important, and has to keep all of the flying metal debris off your arms. Now, gloves can be helpful, but it depends on the person. I don't like gloves because they take away from my dexterity while I do this kind of work. So one of the other things I'm going to do is to try to keep my hands away from that wheel, right? I'm going to keep my hands off to the backside as much as possible. Now, doesn't mean that if this explodes, I'm not going to get caught by it, but that's my personal choice. If you're doing it, you do what you're supposed to do and keep yourself protected. We all make our own choices, right? Let's talk about another life skill. You put an extension cord together. A lot of people stick them together like this, and they just toss it on the ground. And then from time to time, this pops loose. Now, what you don't want to do is what you might see some people do, is tie a knot like this and then plug them together. Well, the problem is whenever you pull on it, and for instance, let me go ahead and put it together. Whenever we pull on it, we're going to pull on the physical cord itself. See how it's bent over itself? This will break the cord before anything else. You'd be better off having left it the other way and let it pull apart. So you always instead want to put the two together, back up a bit, and then tie them together into the knot. And make sure you pull enough slack to take stress off of that cord. And we pull it tight. Now this is safe, this isn't going to come apart on you, and you're not going to hurt your cord. So I'm going to go ahead and get cutting. Probably going to do a little fast forwarding, but let's see if we can get this first one taken off, everyone. Like my bucket bench. Grade A. You get the point. Let's put you on time lapse. Here it comes. All right. There's the first one. Only got at least 3 more of those to go, because I'm pretty sure that's got to come off of here. And let me tell you, that bad boy is welded a lot better than the other ones are. Good news is I didn't cut the frame up too bad, and there's no nasty rust behind this. So let me get this cleaned up a little bit. right, everyone. We are now missing one of those bed mounts. Like I said, nicked the frame a little bit right there. We'll try to be more careful next time. Let's move on to this one. All right. This one should come off now, hopefully. All right. Woo. There she is. That one. This part of the weld sunk super well. It was much more difficult to take off. All right, so back to cleaning it up. Lots of hot metal dust later. We're missing those bed mounts now. I believe I'm gonna go take a measurement of the RamCharger's frame, compare it to this one, and let's get an idea of just how far we're gonna have to scooch things forward and what exactly is gonna come of this piece right here. All right, so the RamCharger is, try not to press too hard here, 105.5, and the Ram 2500 is 134.5, which should give us 29 inches. 29-inch difference between the two. Let's go see where that puts us. Oh, all right. So I should mention the measurements that I took. They are still not 100%. I'm gonna need someone to actually be down here to help me. We need to get a lot closer. I'm probably within 1/4 of an inch, but we need to be closer than that. And that's to say that I don't decide to fudge that number anyways, because it helps something else line up on the frame, and we just let the wheels be a little closer or further together than they should be. You know, different than the OEM RamCharger wheelbase. Anyways, 29 inches. The end of the frame rail that's tucked in right here is right here. Just leave my pocket knife there so it's easy to see. It's right here. And if I come forward 29 inches, that puts us I mean, almost literally where this other brace ends. And this is what I'm talking about, fudging it. It might be possible to get some of these rivet holes to line up again if we bring the frame forward or backwards 1/4 to 1/2 inch, just to let them line up again. Though it does show me that this body mount right here, cab mount, is plumbing away. So on the next episode, we're gonna have to go ahead and cut this off. Now, over here, let's mark this a little better. Over here, the rivets are inbound of that measurement. So let's see, to the center of this rivet, 4.5. So if I put 4.5 right here, that puts our first rivet just off of the location of this one. So it's very likely that I may just go ahead and, like I said, we'll get a more precise measurement here. But I may very well just go ahead and back up. That looks to be a little less than 1/2 inch right here. May I just go ahead and let the frame be just a tiny bit longer, so that at least the first rivet hole lines up with an existing hole in the frame. Now, I don't think we could be this lucky, but look at this hole we have in here in the frame for another rivet. Let's go ahead and measure the distance between these two. 4 3/8. No, it's bigger over here. Well, it was close. The big thing is that even if I wanted to align it perfectly, if you think about it, I'm going to end up having to slot the hole that's here already rather than be able to drill a new hole, solely because there's a rivet hole here already. Unless I were to choose to weld the hole in, flatten it out real nice, and then drill a new hole. Just seems like a lot of mess over what is essentially no more than 1/4 inch. Being that all of our cab mounts and our, radiator support and all that's going to have to be custom fabricated to work on this frame anyways, I don't really see it being an issue to just go ahead and fudge it a bit and figure out the body alignment on the back end. But that's good news, guys. Let's pick this up a bit so I can make sure y'all can see me. That's good news. This is not going to be too bad. Now, down here on the frame, let me scooch down a bit. Right here, we actually have an indent in the frame that was stamped in, and the Dodge most likely did this, the factory did this to add some strength to this part of the frame because it's just a C-channel. It's pretty thin right here and it's not boxed in, and they've got this stamped in here to give it some rigidity. It is boxed further in the front where the 12 valve is. So whenever we slide this frame section forward, it's actually going to come right up on that stamped section of the frame right there. So we'll end up having to cut basically all of that out. But what I plan to do is I'm going to take all of these rivets out of here, and once the rivets are out, I'm going to cut the frame to here to the right length, and we're going to walk the back part of the frame forward, grind all of this smooth, cut all of the bits out that get in my way. I'm going to measure the frame for square and level, all of the fun stuff, make sure it's nice and straight. And once it's straight, I'm going to get a really good drill bit, because these frames are pretty darn hard. Learned that with the Bronco. Ruined a bunch of drill bits until we got one nearly $50 Cobalt drill bit, and then we could punch holes in the frame without ruining it. So once I do that, I'm going to go ahead and punch holes. It'll probably end up with some 1/2 inch bolts in there. Punch some 1/2 inch grade 8 bolts through with some holes, and I'm gonna make sure it's perfectly straight and clamp it all down really tight to make sure that it can't move around. And that'll be enough for me to continue doing frame modifications, getting the body mount, the cab mounts on, we'll need to go get the RamCharger body and get it pulled off of the frame and actually use a piece of machinery to float it over this chassis so I can see where the cab mounts are going to have to go. But once we've got all of the cab mounts tacked in, fabricated, I'm going to get my uncle in here, Lane. He's a pipeline welder. We'll just call him the welding Jedi. And he's going to assess just how much welding needs to be done to the frame. More to say, how least welding can be done to the frame to ensure that it is stronger than it was OEM, if not equally as strong, better if it's a little bit stronger. Just because you don't want to pump a lot of heat into this metal, because it'll lose the temper that it has. It'll become soft and want to bend and crack. So we're going to get him in there and he's going to decide just how much weld to put in. Chances are we're just going to stitch weld around the bolted in plates. It ought to be plenty strong enough with a stitch weld every inch or two. And most likely, me and him's going to talk about it, but this cross member right here is going to disappear, go away. This big heavy cross member is going to be retained because it is kind of built to be part of this superstructure that is the rear part of the frame. We're going to bring that over here, and then rather than just stitch welding the inside of the frame together where the two pieces meet, I'm going to have them stitch all of this together, including the bits that are riveted in the rear, as well as the bits that are riveted in the front. So fully stitch weld the frame to ensure that all of these rivets that have been here for nearly 20 years, they start to loosen up a little bit. We want to make sure the frame is nice and stiff and tight. That way, if we decide we're going to pump 1,000 foot-pounds of torque through this frame on a short wheelbase, we're not going to pretzel it up. But anyways, thank y'all for being here, watching the videos. I really appreciate your support. Visit us on Instagram, Murphy's Law Garage, Facebook, Murphy's Law Garage, YouTube. I also have a Patreon. All of that's going to be linked below. Tell all your friends, y'all get subscribed, hit the notification button to get notifications. And again, God bless. Thank you very much for coming visit. Next time you see me, we'll be doing some more fabrication. Y'all have a good one. Peace.